Welcome back to the Alaskan Man Cave, and today I've got another AR with a special camo. We're going to be using some interesting colors this time. We got sunflower yellow, we got hidden white, and we're going to use some graphite black. With those three colors, we're going to try to make a camo that's kind of going from fall into winter. So we're gonna have the yellows. In our area, there's a lot of yellow leaves that we're gonna, aspens and birch and cottonwood. A lot of those leaves, most of our leaves just turn plain yellow. Obviously, we get snow early, so we're gonna have some white in there for snow, and black just to darken things up a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is use a combination of woodland stencils and the tiger stripe stencils, and we're going to paint the entire thing white, and then we're going to lay some stencils down, and then we're going to kind of halo those stencils with yellow, and then when we'll take the black and then we'll just do a real tight halo, so it'll have a three-color look. I think it's going to look pretty good. But let's get started. Let me show you how we're going to do this.
As you can see, I've already done the base coat, which is hidden white, and I've cured it in the oven for about 12 minutes at 180 degrees, so it's flash cured and tack free. So now I can start laying my stencils down. One thing to remember when you're doing multiple colors is the first color you spray, you're going to want to spray the entire thing like you're rust proofing it. You want it to cover everywhere, inside and out. And that way your other colors will only just be for decoration. They won't be for the actual protection of the firearm. So make sure you do a good thorough base coat. Remember, when you're laying the stencils down, wherever you put the stencil, it's going to look like it's in the foreground of the overall camo. So all the areas that I'm laying a stencil down are going to be nothing but hidden white. So think about that in the spaces as you're laying the stencils down, so you have a nice even coating of the white areas, and it's not overbearing in one spot. So try to keep the stencils laying it down so it'll be a nice even mix of colored and the masked off areas. And also, because we're going to be spraying around these stencils twice, a wider pattern with the sunflower yellow and a tight pattern with the black. So keep in mind how close you put the stencils together, because you want to leave enough room that we start to see the fade in between the yellow and the black, back to the white, and then fading back again to your next stencil. So all of that needs to be taken into account as you lay down your stencils. So it does take quite a bit of thought and a lot of patience to get everything to set down on the part nice and flat, so you don't have any wrinkles or any areas where you're going to have underspray, let's call it. You can also see that I've been working on top of a towel. I've got the towel laid down so I don't inadvertently scratch my parts when I lay them down on a hard surface if it has any of my sandblast sand or any other debris from the shop. So you want to make sure, because at this point the flash cured Cerakote isn't nearly as resilient as fully cured Cerakote, so it will scratch, and I have had it happen before, and there's really no way to fix it other than starting over. So try to protect your parts from being scratched as you're working on it. At this point, you're looking over all the stencils to make sure they are the way you want them. You can move them around if you don't like the way they look, or you can add some in if it's not a dense enough pattern. But at this point, you definitely want to overlook all your work and make sure it is the way you want it. Well, there we go. It's ready to spray. With the stencils all laid down, we're ready to start putting the yellow on. And so I have the yellow all mixed up. I'm just going to set my gun. I'm going to turn my fan pretty much all the way off. So I'm going to have a nice round pattern, and I'm going to adjust my paint so I'm not going to spray out too much at once. And then we're going to go and start and just kind of spray along the edges of the stencils. And we want that kind of to fade into the middle of the non-stenciled areas. And we will do that around all of the stencils. After having done this style of camo before, I've learned from experience that you definitely want to make sure you spray it thicker than you think you would need to along the edges of the stencils, because you do want to have some of those areas to be very close to a solid yellow color and not have everything to where it's faded. You want some of that to be bright, so to speak. So we'll just continue to spray around all of these stencils, and then we'll go around all the stencils on the handguard as well. And then we'll get it back into the oven and we'll flash cure it again for another about 12 minutes or so at 180 degrees. We'll get it tack free, and then we can spray the black. Keep in mind, as we're spraying on our yellow halo, we're going to want to make sure that we're following all the angles of our parts so we get good even coverage and we don't have areas that were shadowed by the spray angle. So make sure that you've got good even coverage as you go around and hit all your angles. As soon as we finish up the yellow, we'll get this back in the oven to flash cure. It'll be at 180 degrees for about 12 minutes, and then we can get straight into doing our second round of halo with the black. So when we set up for the black, we're going to do it exactly like we did for the yellow. We're going to have a round pattern, so no fan. We'll set the paint just a little bit lighter than it was for the yellow, so it'll hold to a nice tight pattern, and we'll get that to spray in as a second halo round around the stencils. And as you can see, we're just kind of triggering this in to make sure we don't go too wide with our black. And we're not too concerned about getting it completely down to a full black. It can fade as it goes across and follows the stencil. At this point, we just want to get a nice halo around in black. Unfortunately, while I was filming this, my video card filled up and I lost all the footage for painting the black on the lower receiver. But the process will be exactly the same as it was here for the handguard. So I guess we can just go straight to pulling stencils. Well, our parts are fully cured and we're ready to start peeling the stencils off. Of course, you all know this is always my favorite part. Well, I'm thinking that came out really sharp. Let's go ahead and grab the upper and lower and get them peeled off too. I gotta admit, I was a little skeptical about the color choices, but in the end, I think this came out really nice. Well, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down below and we'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.